Color is one of the most fundamental aspects of a design, up there with line, shape, and compositions. It's often the part of a drawing that really seems to bring it to life. The childhood joy of filling in a coloring book is universal across all ages when adding color to a drawing. How do artists actually decide what colors to add to a design? When I said that color really brings a drawing to life, it actually describes the role color plays in a design. Color is closely linked to emotions, similar to music. This is why certain colors in a design can instantly make it feel rich with certain kinds of emotions and ideas. Artists choose colors that communicate the idea they want the design to evoke, but how do they actually choose their colors? Color language is a term that describes what kinds of ideas are associated with different kinds of colors. A color tends to mean the same kind of things to all audiences, though some cultures may associate the same color with different things. I'm going to go over what I feel like different colors mean, which are likely to be shared by many other people. Red is an intense and visceral feeling color. It's often linked to pain, rage, or passion. Roses and blood are red objects that are associated with these feelings. Orange is a welcoming feeling color. It's often linked to home, comfort, and warmth. Many common food ingredients or cozy fires are orange objects associated with these feelings. Yellow is a bright and cheerful feeling color. It's often linked to joy, surprise, and success. Gold, sandy beaches, or the sun are yellow objects associated with these feelings. Green is a natural feeling color. It's often linked to serenity and health, but also sickness. Plants are green objects often associated with these feelings. Blue is a contemplative feeling color. It's often linked to calm, sadness, or wisdom. Water and the sky are blue objects often associated with these feelings. Purple is an unnatural feeling color. It's often linked to mystery, magic, or royalty. Expensive dyes and some gems are purple objects associated with these feelings. Tertiary colors are a mix of primary and secondary colors. They often have associations similar to colors they are close to. For example, teal is a mix of green and blue. It can feel both natural and contemplative. Magenta is a mix of purple and red, and can feel both intense and unnatural. Other tertiary colors follow similar patterns. The value of colors can also change its meaning. Dark colors often feel sinister, mysterious, or classy. Lighter colors often feel positive, trustworthy, or pure. The saturation of a color is another factor that can change a color's meaning. Desaturated colors often feel more neutral. They often feel humble, orderly, but sometimes also emotionless. Saturated colors, on the other hand, feel flashy and intense. The meanings a color has can sometimes be contradictory. You may have noticed that green can be associated with both health and sickness. Another example is that gray can feel either classy and official, or run down and abandoned. What meaning comes across depends on the context of how it's used in the design. Designs often make use of multiple colors. All of the colors a design uses is called a color palette. Any arrangement of colors can be a color palette, but there are a few basic kinds of color relationships that make the basis of a strong color palette. Analogous color palettes consist of similar looking colors. For example, a palette consisting of blue and purple is analogous. Analogous color palettes have the benefit of feeling cohesive, but there's also a lack of interest. This means analogous palettes don't pop out too much to the eye. Warm and cool color palettes are the most basic kinds of analogous color palettes. A warm palette can consist of yellow, orange, and red. A cool palette consists of green, blue, and purple. While the categories of color can be very granular, splitting colors into either warm or cool can simplify how colors relate to each other. Warm colors feel bright and seem to come forward, while cool colors tend to feel dim and seem to recede. Warm and cool colors also contrast each other. Monochrome palettes are made of just one kind of color. Instead of achieving variety through hue or different colors, the colors in a monochrome palette may vary in saturation or value. Monochrome palettes are easy to work with, since having a singular color palette makes the palette feel cohesive, but changing the value also enables contrast. Still, monochrome palettes may not feel as interesting as multicolor palettes in some cases. A complementary color palette consists of contrasting colors, opposite of each other on the color wheel. Purple and yellow are examples of complementary colors. When complementary colors are put next to each other, that makes them stand out, which can make a design feel really strong. Another way to make colors stand out is by using color relativity. This is when a design is dominated by a single kind of color, but when there are slight differences in any colors in the design, those colors stand out, and feel more different than they actually would. A color next to a desaturated version of that color can make that desaturated color feel like a complementary color. For example, if a design is mostly orange, then if gray is included in the design, the gray will feel blue. If a desaturated red is introduced into an orange-dominated design, that red may feel more purple. Using color relativity is a great way to keep a design cohesive, but also make it feel like it has contrast. It's useful when you don't want to overwhelm a design with multiple vivid colors. Mixing multiple kinds of basic color palettes can make for a really interesting design. Including both analogous and complementary colors can make a design really strong. An example is a palette that includes both blue and purple, but also includes yellow as an accent color. When designing a color palette, it helps to keep them unified in some way. If all the colors have either similar hues, values, or saturations, it helps keep them feeling like they belong together. If one color is a desaturated yet dark yellow and another is bright pink, those colors may feel like they don't belong together. If they share at least one quality, that can help them feel like they belong. Desaturated dark yellow could be switched with a pastel yellow, which can fit better with bright pink since they have similar values. When designing a color palette, think about what each color in that palette means, and also about how it fits with all the other colors. For some examples of more complicated color palettes, I'm going to describe the color palettes of the main characters of Silver Road. Guyana's color palette is mainly analogous, with her skin color acting as a complementary color. Guyana's clothes, hair, and tail are all dark, somewhat desaturated cool colors. Her skin is a light desaturated orange-yellow color with a splash of desaturated green for her tattoos. Guyana's colors vary in hue and value, but they share a similar level of saturation. The exception is her flowers, which are bright cyan. Normally, bright cyan may not feel welcome in Guyana's color palette, but helps draw attention to her flowers as an accent, and their cool color ties them to the other cool colors in her design. If Guyana's flowers were a color close to red, the difference in saturation would be more of a problem. The dark cool colors in Guyana's design feel mysterious but serene. They feel almost intimidating but approachable at the same time. This is related to Guyana's contrasting themes of plants, earth, and ghosts. Her colors feel like a somewhat eerie but peaceful night in the forest. Sam's color palette, like Guyana's, is analogous, with the skin and hair acting as complementary colors. Sam's colors are all somewhat desaturated. His clothes are mainly green, while his skin color and hair are in the reddish-orange range. The minty green color was chosen as Sam's main color. It's reminiscent of elements of nature such as pine trees or auroras. The minty green feels chill, and its associations make Sam feel both tough and awe-inspiring. His palette evokes natural majesty, and therefore associates those feelings with his character. Sam's colors feel like a road trip through the mountains. Seven's color palette is based on the primary colors. He is mainly blue and yellow, with a small splash of red. All of his colors are also somewhat desaturated. The primary colors, being the most basic colors, evokes a feeling of familiarity and trustworthiness. The colors being desaturated makes Seven feel humble. He's not overly flashy, but he's not dull either. The yellow and blue were chosen because they evoke feelings of summer. Seven's palette is meant to evoke the feeling of visiting a diner by the seaside during summer. The red was chosen to add some extra interest to the design and make it feel complete. I said earlier that the color orange feels homely, but Seven's palette evokes this feeling without using much orange. This shows how there's no single way to communicate an idea with colors. Asri's color palette is mainly complementary, with her skin color acting as a more neutral analogous color to tie the design together. Asri's main colors are bright magenta and neon green. These colors are very flashy and otherworldly, and help communicate that Asri is an energetic character with several mysteries tied to her existence. The green is tied to the slimy theme, and the magenta is tied to her powers and space theme. These colors are vivid on their own, but them being grouped together makes them feel even more intense. Asri's skin color is a more neutral reddish-orange. This is analogous to the magenta parts of her design, but the neutrality of the color also helps tie the design together and keep it somewhat grounded. Asri's colors feel like a fun adventure on an alien planet. Admittedly, my process of designing the color palettes of my characters wasn't as thought out as they were described in this video. My process mainly consists of choosing colors that felt like they fit, and adjusting them over time. I think this is fine and actually a solid way of choosing colors. Color is already a part of the design that interacts mainly with the subconscious part of the brain, so letting your brain subconsciously choose colors will probably give you colors that work. You don't need to consciously choose blue if you want a calm color for your design, because your brain will probably choose it anyway if it associates blue with the feelings of calm. Describing the way color palettes work is more of a way to explain why colors work the way that they do. In this video is mainly describing how the colors I chose could affect what people think of the characters. Still, thinking about color on a more intentional level can help improve how we use colors in a design. Thinking about color language is a way to refine and perfect a color palette. When you're designing a color palette, think about what each color means and how they work together. I hope you enjoyed this discussion. Goodbye, everybody. Sam wishes you well.